Moving on, he is the junior Home Minister of India and he is also an important face of the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party from India's northeast. Tripura has already voted. Nagaland and Meghalaya will vote on February 27. WION's Kartikeya Sharma spoke to Mr. Rijiju.
I am joined by the principal campaigner of Bharatiya Janata Party in the elections for Northeast, Home Minister Kiren Rijiju, who is a face from Arunachal Pradesh and has been extensively campaigning in Meghalaya, Tripura and Nagaland. Kiren, thank you for making time for WION, and let me begin this session of interview with you by asking you as to how important Northeast is for Bharatiya Janata Party.
See, any election is important, but Northeast becomes very important this time because Prime Minister has set an agenda of Act East policy. Now this Act East policy must be implemented on the ground. For that we need effective, very transparent and honest government in place. So far we had been seeing all kind of governments who are indulging in corruptions, inefficiency and all other kind of scams and all. So BJP for the first time is going full steam. It's not token presence or a customary election fight. It's a fight to wrest the power from the Congress. But in Nagaland the situation is unique because the government here was our NDA partner. But we could not enter into electoral alliance. So in Nagaland, we have made an arrangement with the newly formed Nagaland Democratic Progressive Party. We are fighting election with full understanding that we will have a seat sharing, and we are very sure to get very close to 2/3 majority. And I'm overseeing the entire electioneering here, and the response has been tremendous so far.
But you know, earlier there was an impression that there was some sort of an over-focus on Tripura.
See, Tripura being over-focused in the national media is because it was ruled by the left party, and BJP was unexpectedly taking on head-on with the CPM. So people thought that it's a losing battle. But when BJP picked up, so it became a big news. It's kind of a new change. That is why it became a story which everybody was talking about, that BJP has risen unexpectedly in Tripura. But in Nagaland, because this Naga talk is also going on, is a question of the political solution. At the same time, this is 70 years old political problem. So for that, we really need to go and tell the people that here is the government for the first time who is committed to solve the Naga problem. So with that, we are going much deeper, and as a minister from Northeast and as a minister in Home Affairs who directly deals with all these issues, at the same time as a minister in charge for the election, so I am right now concentrating in Nagaland.
You know, you're saying that right now you're concentrating in Nagaland, but there was, in fact, in Nagaland election or the election in Meghalaya, the BJP did not show that leap of faith which it showed in Maharashtra, Haryana, where they said, well, we are going to contest the election on our own. Was there a tactical, strategic or any electoral reason behind it?
See, in Nagaland context, we could have gone alone. We have the strength right now. But the thing is, since, as I said, it's a very sensitive and we are sitting in a very delicate moment of Naga political history, we want somebody from Nagaland as a indigenous regional party to be part of us in the formation of the next government, as well as to implement the accord as and when it is signed. So as and when it is signed means we are expecting soon. Now for that, if we go alone, then people might take it otherwise, that we are only interested in wresting the power. So it's much beyond power. We are for the solution. And in Meghalaya context, we are going alone there, and the Congress is long time ruling party in Meghalaya. So that's why there are some political parties who are having understanding with us, but we are not having electoral alliance with anybody in Meghalaya.
You know, you use the word the Naga Accord. That's the first question you encounter when you enter Nagaland. When? You have used the word soon, but the tenure of your government, of the BJP government, will be over next year.
No, it's not question of tenure. It's a question of commitment. And we are very committed because Prime Minister has from the day one said that we want to solve this issue. But as I said, before India got independence, this issue was alive. And it's not easy to just hammer out the entire problem in a couple of years' time. We wanted that, but the talk is going on and it's progressing very smoothly and it's nearing the kind of an agreement which we are looking forward to. So that is what I feel, that it should not take too much time from now, but there are some critical issues remaining to be settled. Once that is done, I think we can implement
But
it.
there's a lot of anxiety here about what's the talk about, the details of the draft agreement. They are not in public. Earlier, the CMs of this area had an issue. So how are you politically resolving those issues? Because people have no idea as to what the Naga Accord will be or what was the agreement of the draft.
No, that agreement, some people keep racking up the issue. That is not an agreement. That is a framework agreement on the basis of which the talk will progress. It's basically a confidence building measure, and that is a framework on the basis of which the talk has progressed. And I think it's well understood within the domain of those stakeholders who are part of it. And if some political parties, especially Congress, try to give a spin to it, that will not work because we are focused on the job.
So are you saying that this year, by end of this year, the Naga Accord will be a reality?
No, if you give timeline, the problem starts. It's not question of how soon or how late or question of time zone. It's a question of commitment. We are very committed to that.
Okay, now let me draw your attention to a different subject, and I want your response on it. Nagaland Baptist Church Council they wrote a letter to different political parties, and the whole letter was around the issue of faith in Nagaland and the issue of mainland politics, which is Hindutva and Christianity. Your first response on that?
First of all, Nagaland will be governed by the Nagas. It is a Christian state. The Chief Minister, the MLA, the ministers, everybody is Christian. Where's the question of imposition? It is the Constitution which will guide us. The Constitution says we can't discriminate anybody, any Indian, on the basis of his religious or any other identity. Everybody is Indian. So this kind of religious issue being brought up in the election time is something which is not appreciated, because if you target BJP, means you are benefiting somebody. So I have responded appropriately. Yesterday also I have extensively campaigned in the rural far area close to Myanmar border. I have told people very clearly, we are a secular party. We are functioning under a constitution which is absolutely secular, and there's no question of any imposition of faith on others. The Nagaland state government will be ruled and run by the Naga people. So there's no any bearing on any kind of have an adverse impact on the faith.
Are you saying, is it correct to say that the church is trying to be a political player at Nagaland?
Somebody may be trying to misuse it, but we don't blame the churches, because it's not all the churches are doing it. Maybe one or two people are trying to rack up this issue to benefit some political parties or some candidates. I think some people trying to do that, but we have effectively countered that kind of campaign, and we assure every Naga and everybody that we are here to serve the people, and politics is all about governance, it's all about welfare, it's nothing to do with your faith. Faith is supreme, faith is your individual. You should not interfere into the faith of anybody just because you belong to a different community or different political party.
A lot of people would say that BJP is like a two-person, one in Northeast, another in the mainland India. In Northeast, there is no issue of food, there is no issue of identity.
Obviously, that is so clear. See, India is a large country, and every community has its own say in its own domain areas. Mm-hmm. Now, if a person from Jammu and Kashmir goes to Tamil Nadu and says that you have to follow our food habit, whatever we do in Kashmir, they will not listen. In the same manner, people of Nagaland have different food habits, different way of life. People in Maharashtra have different kind of a way of life. So it's a coexistence, unity in diversity, the strength of India, the character of Indian nation. This is something we coexist despite having different habits, because the country is large.
Okay. Is Congress done and dusted in Northeast?
Congress is paying the price of its misrule. Now you see in Nagaland, Congress is nowhere. The Congress meager presence is in Meghalaya because they are ruling for a long time. There also it's difficult to save their scheme. In Nagaland, I can say that the history of Congress has been quite strong, but for the present purpose, Congress is not in existence here anymore.
So you're basically saying that there may be a time in future that all the states will be under BJP.
That is what we want, because we want good governance and we want delivery of goods to the people.
You have spoken about good governance, but unfortunately, development doesn't become the big issue in Northeast. It'll be about migration. Sometimes it'll be about identity. Where is the development?
We are making it.
It takes 3 hours to go to Kohima from Dimapur.
I know. It's around 70 kilometers. 3 hours is a pathetic
minimum
condition.
time.
Yeah. So that is why development has never been the agenda in election. It's all emotional, sentimental, identity, all this kind of regionalism was the main issues in every election. But now BJP has brought governance, good governance, in the focal point of our campaign, and that is paying off. And that should be the election agenda. It's the governance.
And last 2 questions before I let go of you. One, should Northeast have a different time zone? The Northeast can get to save light, can get to save electricity, and it will be more in rhythm with the nature. But somehow it seems that when we talk about time zones, it becomes an issue of nation. One nation, one time. You, as a representative of Northeast, what have you done on this front? Because a lot of chief ministers, like Mr. Pema Khandu, I distinctly remember, categorically said that they would really appreciate if they can have a different time zone.
Yeah, this is an issue which has been raised many a times. Yes, there are concerns that 1.5 hour differences of sun rising, thereby precious time, the early morning most valuable time is lost. But I am from the ministry who deals with the subject. So if I give some kind of a commitment or statement, it may not be appropriate. But as a person from Northeast and as a minister from Northeast, if any kind of such demand come in a coherent manner by all the northeastern states, then we can definitely think about it, and what can be done is something we need to discuss, because creation of time zone will have its own repercussion and we will have to manage that. Right now Indian Standard Time is applicable to every part of the country, like Nepal or Bhutan or Bangladesh. They are in between India. Their west also is India, the east also is India. So our time zone runs like Bhutan. Bhutan's time is 30 minutes advance of India. But since we go by Lucknow time, so Arunachal's practical time is actually ahead of Bhutan, but official timing is later than Bhutan. So this kind of peculiar situation is there because of our large size of Indian subcontinent. This is something we can think about in future.
Last question. Has PNB scam affected the campaign of BJP in Northeast?
These are the scams people know are, it's having its genesis in Congress misrule and Congress regime. So if we are the responsible party for the corruption, for this kind of scams which is stumbling out, then we will be responsible. But for now, there is no such thinking in the mind of people, and all the corruptions have its own roots in the Congress party. So it's having a positive impact on us, not negative.
So thank you for making time for me. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.